The second application is what I call inquiry. And inquiry is a bit more active and dynamic than the first, which is be still and allow everything to be as it is. The first application of the teaching just is an invitation to open and relax and to let go. The second application, inquiry, requires you to be a bit more dynamic, a bit more involved, you might say. Inquiry ties into that love of truth, that desire for reality. So inquiry is more of the dynamic aspect of the teaching. And ultimately, the deepest inquiry that we really can ask is, who or what am I? Who or what am I? Until we realize that, until we awaken from the dream of ego, then this is the most important question for us to really look at. Who or what am I? It's not so important who or what do I want, what am I hoping to achieve, where am I hoping to get, can I find God? All these questions are not as important as who or what am I, because, of course, it's you, it's the I, that's seeking everything that you've ever been seeking. And if you don't really know the truth of your own being, how can you know that anything else has validity? If you don't know who or what it is that's living your life right here and right now, if you don't really know what it is that's listening to my words and viewing this image, then you've missed out on the most important gift of your whole life, of your whole existence. So this inquiry into who or what am I is an essential part of this teaching. And like any part of this teaching, the application, how you apply this question, is essential. Because it can be applied in such a way that it's just something your mind does. In other words, if it's just something you think about, yeah, who am I? What am I? And you think about it and analyze it and compare what you've heard or read or what you're thinking, this is to misapply the teaching. It just leads to more thinking. It just leads to being lost in one's mind. But real inquiry is meant to help take you out of the mind, out of the creations, the dream state that the mind lives in. The question of who or what am I is a means to awaken from the dream state of egoic identification. So how does one ask this question? It's actually something very simple, but requires a real steadiness, a real precise understanding of how to apply this teaching. What am I? This is the question. So when you ask the question, what am I? You're really looking back into yourself. What is this thing called I or me? And most people, the first thing they notice is they have lots of thoughts about themselves, lots of memories, identities, good or bad self-images. Whether you're a man or a woman or a child or an adult, or you have a certain age or a certain birthday, or what you want or don't want, how you look in the mirror. All these things are contained in your mind. But if you look deeply, right now, as we are here together, if you really look deeply, you'll see that everything you've ever imagined yourself to be is just that. It's imagination. And it's something that's floating and being created in your mind. And that imagination, that mind, is something that occurs within awareness, within consciousness. So if the mind and the image you have of yourself is something that it occurs within you and to you, that means it can't be you, because you are something one step closer, as it were, than the mind. As we say, my mind, I'm thinking, that thought occurred to me. So the thinking and the me, the mind and the I, are two very different things. And this inquiry is actually meant to break this trance state between consciousness and the mind. It's meant to get your identity out of the mind. So when you apply this question, what am I really? And by seeing, you know that you are something more fundamental, more closer than the mind. Well, what's left if you don't go to your mind to tell you who you are? Some people would say, well, I feel this way. I have this feeling in my heart, or I feel this way, or I have such and such emotion. But again, feeling and emotion and sensation is something that arises within consciousness. It's noticed by consciousness. And so even though there may be a feeling, or a sensation, or an emotion, these don't define who or what you are either. They just tell you what's happening within your most intimate environment. But they don't tell you who or what it's happening to. So the question continues to go to a deeper level. What is this? What is this I that thought is occurring to, that feeling is happening to, that perception? What is this I that's hearing these words right now? What is the I that hears sounds? Who are you without referring to a thought or a feeling to tell you who or what you are? And if you really do this in a quiet way, in a meditative way, so that the question is referring you back to direct experience rather than to useless thinking, then this question has great power. But remember, this is the most important point. The question is meant to refer you back to a depth of experience, not meant to refer you back into thinking so that you think about the question. This is a very, very important part of the teaching to remember. It's a very important part of the application of this question, so that it takes you deeper into the experience of what you are and out of the mind.